just going to create, I would suggest that you all create a new one. Let's start from scratch. Hopefully you can bang it out tonight. And I'm going to show you a couple little tricks and a couple little things, which is why I gave you all have copies of the site plan. Create new. And here we go. I'll be talking as I do this. I hope to not pause a whole lot. You should try and keep up with me if you can. If not, you know, you've got some time to do this. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the roof plan, and I'm going to put those blocks in. This is all we did in class before. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the bearded guy. All right, now I'm going to start putting in the lines. And how you want to do that, I'm starting at the lower right front corner, going over 25 foot 3. Enter it, type it, zoom out, or try and zoom out. I'm here. Escape. Let's go right click. Oh, it won't let me do that. Zoom. That's orbit. Hang on a second. Bear with me because I'm using, there we go. All right, zoomed out. I'm going to orbit that up to make it a little easier for me. I'm going to pan and see where I'm at. When I'm doing the lines, this one is 30 foot 7. I make sure that it's going in the green direction. My next one's in the red direction, 13 foot 1. Back to the green direction, make sure that line's green, 24 foot 1. Red direction, 21 foot 1. Green direction. This one gets a little, is this the dicey one? No, this isn't the dicey one. 23 foot 2. Okay. The last direction. All right, it's 17 foot 3. 16 foot 2 is a dimension that was there for a patio that I don't show and you don't need to worry about. So we're going over 17 foot 3. Foot 3. Okay. If you've done it right, you should be able to pull down on the green axis, click your start point, and the whole thing shades. If that doesn't work, then you haven't done it right. And you probably, at this point, I would erase all the lines and start all over again, take it from scratch. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I want to break up these two building blocks. And in order to do that, I zoom in a little bit. I might even want to orbit. Zoom out a little. All right, so what I'm doing, I don't have to measure anything. I can start here. I go in a red direction. And notice when I get near that corner, a little dot pops up. That dot says I'm right in line with it. So I click it, and then I go down in the green direction and click it again. Now I've got my two squares. I'm going to orbit a little because I love to orbit. Next step I would do is I would start extruding these or extending these or push-pull. That's what we're going to use. Now I can add up all those dimensions, which would be fun, or I can just lay my ruler on it. And where I'm going for this exercise, I'm going to go to I'm going to make it right up to here. See where my marker is? I'm going to the top of this trim board right here as the top of my rectangle. Now, I'm going to measure it, and I come up with pretty much 16 feet. I might be an inch or two off. That's okay at this point.
Then after the 25.3, you go to 30 foot 7?
Hang on a minute. let me go back and look. That is correct. All right, so we determined the height was 16 feet. So I'm going to extrude, I'm going to do push-pull. If I can find push-pull, that's right here. If I hover over it, it says push-pull. And I'm going to click it, start it up, take my hand off the mouse, and type in 16 feet. Great. The garage, I'm going to go up.
I have a question.
Yes,
Are you doing the one where we do the roof overhang?
yes. That's why I'd suggest you might want to start again. It's
That's why I'm trying to keep up with the dimensions.
okay. Well, let's the garage height is 7 foot and 1 foot 9, so that's 8 foot 9. And I took that dimension off the sheet, 8 foot 9. I should have 2 blocks of these heights. If I want to orbit around, there they are. So, next thing I want to do is this roof. And the roof, according to the south elevation, has a 1 foot overhang. And in the front, we're just going to keep it at 1 foot. So, what I want to do,
Are you recording this?
hmm?
Are you recording this?
I am.
Awesome.
So, what I want to do is I want to come out from this element a foot. Couple different ways to do that. And actually, I'm not sure it's always a foot. Let me check something. If I go back to the roof plan, see what I got. It isn't. It's a foot pretty much everywhere, except the front where it's actually 2 feet. Except I don't draw it that way. We're going to keep it a foot throughout just to make life easier for us. So how would I do that? Well, if I look at the trim piece, I'm going to go with trim that's about 8 inches tall. It's just a guess, but that's okay. So one thing I can do is I could draw a line from here. I could go out a foot. I can go up on the blue axis 8 inches. I then come all the way across the front, but I don't. I stop. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go out a foot. I'm going to go up 8 inches. And then I'm going to tie these two together. Now I've got a little rectangle that hangs out a foot on the sides. My roof is 12 foot 1 tall. So I'm going to draw a line in the center. I find my midpoint. I draw a line up 12 foot 1. And then I'm going to connect it there and connect it there. Now I'm going to add some trim on the edge of the roof. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete that line. I'm going to look and see. If you look down here, there's a command called offset. So if I click on that, for the trim itself, I used, the roof is 12 foot 1. What I want to do is I'm going to first pick these lines. I'm going to use my picker. Pick that line. I'm going to hold down the shift button to add it. Notice I get a plus or minus. I'm going to click that line. Those lines turn blue. I then go to offset, and it's going to say distance. And I'm going to go 8 inches. So 8, try and go 8. 8, enter. Oh, stay on page. All right, let's start dragging it and see what happens. All right, I have to drag it a little first. I don't like what it's doing. Try something. Okay, if it's going to be grumpy, then we're going to do something a little different. We're going to go, select that. No, I'll just copy it. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to my move command. I click on the top, and I want to copy it. So if you look down here, it says option. In your case, it might be alternate. I don't know what it says in Windows. This is a Mac, but it'll say one of these things. Option. In my case, it's the option button. It cycles through copy, stamp, move. So I press it once, hold it, and I get the plus sign. I click on that. I drag it. Yep. No. Option. Come on now. Start over. Select it. Move. Option. Click it and just drag it down along this line and type in 8. Now I made a line 8 inches down there. I do the same thing with this line. You'll notice it only grabs this part of this line. That's fine. I'm going to go move. Make sure I'm copying it by pressing the, I think it's the alternate button on yours. Click it, start it down, drag it along that line, enter the number 8. And what I should have is, you can see I've got those trim lines in front, but they've got a little bit of grundu on the ends. So I want to erase that. I click on that, get rid of it. Click on that one, 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 get rid of it. Now what I can do, since I've got that, I can do my push-pull, and I can select this. I can push-pull it all the way to that back edge. It just says on edge, make sure it's the back edge. And I can do the same thing with this. Just push that through. It disappears, but don't worry about it, because what you're going to do is just redraw a line and make it come back. Now it's back. If I orbit, you're going to see I've got that face there. It's also the wrong color, which drives me crazy. It's not the end of the world for you, but I would select it. See, it got pimply, right click, and reverse faces. Now it's all white like everything else. As long as I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and delete this line, which I don't need, and delete this line, which I don't need. So far, I've got the top roof, and I've got the overhangs on the side, but I don't have them on the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just the trim part. I'll try to grab it. See how that got pimply? Got the blue dots on it. I'm going to do push-pull. Grab it. I'm going to come out a foot. I'm then going to do the same thing on the back. Going to grab it and come out a foot. Now I've got the roof overhangs on the main building. Now I have to do the same thing for the garage. So let's walk through it. The overhangs are a foot. The first thing I did was draw a little line out here on the red one, 12 inches for the overhang. I then came up 8 inches for the trim. Hit enter. Hit enter or hit escape. Start a new one. Go out 12 inches. Go up 8 inches. Make sure you're going up. It's blue. That's fine. 8, enter. And then I'm going to go back and connect it. So I got that little rectangle there that's overhanging the building by a foot on both sides. The roof is 10'5" tall. So I want to go to the midpoint of this. Click on it. Go up 10'5". Come down one side, come down the other side. I'm going to erase that middle line. And now because offset was being grumpy, we're going to do the same thing we did up here. We're going to copy each one of these lines 8 inches down. So what you do is you want to select a line. Let's start with this one. You go here. You press, I believe, is it the alternate button on yours? Should say at the bottom. See where my cursor is, where it says option equals cycle, copy, stamp, move. Does yours say that? Does it say alternate equals cycle, copy, move, or shift equals?
Yeah, for the copy. Mine says it's for which one? For which one?
I'm trying to copy this line.
Ours is,
Let's
if
see what
you
you
do
got.
move, you hit control.
It's control on yours?
Yeah, it cycles it.
Control cycles it. Okay.
How tall is the garage roof?
Hmm?
How tall is the garage roof?
The garage roof is 10'5".
5.
Correct. So I've selected it. I make sure I'm in copy mode. I got that little plus showing up. Take my finger off the key, left click, drag it down the line. It's got to be on edge, and type in 8. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the other line. I hit move, but as soon as I press option, it becomes copy. Zoom in, click on the endpoint, drag it down the line, type in 8 inches. You just have to type in 8. I've done the same thing that I did out front. I just drew the roof and then I put the trim inside it. Now I'm going to select all these little extra pieces. They turn blue, I delete them. Delete them. Delete them. Next step, I'm going to push pull and drag that all the way to the front of the garage. So to do that, I go to push pull. I'm going to start with the outside. I go all the way down here. I just bring it on that edge and it will bring it out to that edge. It says on edge, that's going all the way out to the front. I do the same thing here. It disappeared out back. Don't worry about it. I click on it there. I have to fill in this back part. All I have to do is trace over that line. Any one of those lines will work. It fills it in. I come to the front. Let's see if it reversed the face. It did. Don't ask me why. I select this face, so it's got the shading showing up on it, the little blue dots, right click, reverse face. And now I want to bring out the overhangs. So I go to my push pull, I click on the trim, and I come out 12 inches. I orbit. Not that, that's rotate, sorry. Orbit, come to the back, do the same thing. Push pull, 12. So now I've got, and now would be a great time to save. If it says purge unused item, yes, purge all. I'm going to save mine to projects. I'll try to. Yeah, sure. North America, I guess. Why not? Okay, click on that. And I'm going to give it a name. 2025 Sketchup final.
Only doing the overhang in the back of the garage? I was like,
Okay, now we've got all the roof overhangs in. The next thing I would move on to would be the doors and the windows. And I'm going to start right in the front. I would actually do one other thing. You'll notice if you look here, there are no lines where that trim went through. I'd like to see the lines there, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw them in. I should be able to go intersection, 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 and intersection, intersection. I'm going to get this one down here. I'm going to orbit again, do the bottom. It's not the end of the world if you don't have them, but I like to see them when you print it out. Click on that one. And orbit again. Should come, hey, line. On edge is fine. Intersection, endpoint's fine. Come down, orbit, and let's fill out the bottom one. Looks like it gave me one on the bottom already, so we're good. All right, so I've got those lines. I like seeing those lines there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the front. I'm going to pan. Okay, and I'm going to start doing these windows. And I'm going to start with, probably the first thing I'd start doing is the trim that is right here. See that big thing of trim? Well, that's 1'7". So I'm going to put that right around the building. In order to do that, I'm going to orbit here, get a good look at it. Grab any corner, I don't really care which one. You could, I would probably just copy these lines. I would select it, shift to select it. Yeah, shift. So now I got both those lines. I go to the move command. I go option, in your case, alternate. Yep, no, I didn't get it. There it is. Click, bring it down, 1'7". If you didn't want to do it that way, you could just draw a line over the line, 1'7", and then drag your cursor, and you'll see it'll pick up the midpoint, and there's the end point. And you can just draw the lines in to the edge. Either way works. To the edge. I'm going to do it on the other side just in case I want to look at the other side, but I probably wouldn't. Okay, now we're going to orbit again and get back to the front. There's the front of our building. First thing I want to do is do these windows. To the window opening, it's 4'2" over. So I'm going to select that line right there, and I'm going to copy it. Click on move, click on alternate till the plus sign shows up. Take your finger off, click it, and go over 4'2". And then it goes over, the other side of the window is 2'9". Option, click it, 2'9". Next one's 4'9". Option, click it. 4'9". And then it's 2'9". Now here I'm going to do the same thing, but rather than type in 2'9", it's the same width as this window. I can just go option, got the plus sign, or alternate, click it, and just do that. It's the same width. This next distance is 4'9", which is the same as that distance. I can go option. That'll bring it over 4'9", and the window's 2'9". 2'9". So now I've got 3 windows that are 2'9". To help you, if you find yourself wondering if you did it right, look over here, there's a tape measure. You can right-click on that, and you can click, and look, it's 4'9". If I don't click, nothing will happen. It just tells me what that distance is. This window's 2'9". If I click it, it might make a line there. It didn't this time. Sometimes it'll make a line out in space. Let's see if it'll do it. Yeah, all right. See, it made that dotted line because I clicked it. That's not a problem. You can just select that line and delete it. Going through it again. I got the measuring tool. I wanted to see how wide the building was. I go from one end, I go to the other. If I stop right there and just let it hover, it says 25'3", which is correct. If I click on it, it still says 25'3", and it mentions the length down here, but it makes that little dotted line. Just erase the dotted line. Select it, delete it. But that's your tape measure tool, and it can tell you if you've made a mistake. All right. Now the window height is 4'7". So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the windows at once. 1. Use my shift, 2, 3, little plus minus. I go copy. Option to get the plus sign, click it, come down. 4'7". That works. The next window starts 3'7" below that. Since it's already blue, I go option. 7. And then it's 4'7", which is the same distance as here. Okay, so I put 6 windows on here. There's only 5, but I'm going to get rid of this one over here, and I'm going to erase some of the lines I don't need anymore. Get rid of that line, get rid of that line, because we're going to put a door there. Since I've gone to all this trouble, now's a good time to hit save. And it's been saved. I've got the windows. Now what I want to do is start working on that front door. That door is centered under this window, and it's 2'10". And do I have a height on it? It looks like the height is, I'm going to find my scale. It's about 6'8", which happens to be the same as the top of the windows. So the top of the lower windows, if you draw a straight line across, that's pretty much the same. It's close enough as the height of the door. So I know the height of it. I have to figure out where the door goes. I'm going to assume that it's centered on this window. So I can draw a line down the middle. I come down, I click on it. Half of 2'9" is 1'4½". Click on that, copy. 1 foot, 4.5. And then if I select this line and I copy it over the other direction, there it is. It's the right width. It's a little wider than the, is it wider than the windows? Yeah, it should be about a ½ inch bigger than the windows, which you can kind of see if I really zoom in on it, I hope. Oh boy, it doesn't look very much different than the windows, so I'm just going to live with that as it is. Draw a line from the top of the window over to here. There's the top of my door. Delete lines I don't need. Make sure I'm deleting the line, not the face of the building. Okay, now I've got the 5 windows on the front plus the door. Now I've got to do the top windows. And the top windows are, the first one's 8'11" over, and it's hard to read, but it is, sorry, I think my glasses off. (2'7", 2'9". It's 4'7". They're the same size as the other windows. What the dimensions show me right here is that this window starts 8'11" from this edge of the building. And this window starts 8'3" from this edge of the building. They're not centered. So probably the easiest thing for me to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a line off of this wall and just come over 8'11", and I'm going to make the line the same height as the top of the windows. So where would that be? That would be 4'7" plus 1'6" would be 5'13" or 6'1" from that corner. Getting back here, I'm just going to start right here. I'm going to draw a line up. Find that end point. There I am. I'm going to go straight up in the blue direction. Well, it's right on that line, but I am going up in the blue direction. See if I move it, it goes black. And I'm going to go up 6'1". And then I'm going to come over and just hit it on edge. In that direction. Don't worry about this little triangle. We'll make that go away. What I've done now is I've established the tops of the windows. I'm then going to select this line that I just drew. I'm going to copy it over 8'11". The window is 2'9", so I'm going to copy it again. And there's 2'7" between the windows. Make sure the plus sign is there. And it's 2'9" again. And I'll just go ahead and type it in this time. All right, now we've got the sides of our window, the top of the window. I'm going to erase lines I don't need. So I'm going to make a left triangle, and that'll get rid of that whole thing. But if I didn't want to do that, if I select one line or the other, as soon as I delete it, the triangle goes away. Then I can just delete the other line. I can delete that line, and that line, and that line. Now I've just got to put the bottoms of the windows in. Well, the windows are 4'7" tall. So if I copy the tops, Shift, add it. So I'm going to copy both tops at once. Move, Option, come down, 4'7". And get rid of the extra lines that are underneath them. So now I've got the windows on the front. All the windows are boxed out. The last thing I'm going to do on the front for now is I want to put these columns in on the side. These guys right here. And I'm just going to draw them straight up and down. It's 1'5" for a width. So I go back in here, select this line. You can see it light up. It's right on the blue line, so it doesn't light up much, but it did light up. Copy, Option, plus sign, and it's 1'5", and then I do the same thing over here. (1'5). So now I've got the two trim boards on the top, on the sides. I've got the top trim board in. Now I'm going to orbit again. Let's start working on the other side. Going to the elevation. I'm now going to my side elevation, and I've got to do these windows. Well, the height, it doesn't say it, but it's the same height as the front windows. So we know that from the front, and we've got to figure out the spacing. Now, an easier way for me to do this is, rather than measuring a lot of stuff, what I would do is I would draw a line from the tops and bottoms of these windows all the way down, and from the tops of these windows all the way down, and from the bottom of these windows all the way down. Making sure I was going the right color. I'm going to erase these lines that I just used to help me out. Oop, I lost a line there. I didn't do the bottoms. So I go right to the corner, and then I go down here. Erase the extra lines. Now I know the tops and bottoms of the windows on this view. So I drew a line for the bottom, and I drew a line for the top, and I drew a line for the bottom, same as the front. I then am going to look at the drawing, and it said that the first window starts 5'3" over. And I'm going to focus on the top row now, because these are going to get a little different. But let's start with this one. We got to go over 5'3", and then 2'9", and then 11'1". I select this line. Notice it's just going to be the window line. I copy it. And I go over 5'3". I then copy it again and go over 2'9". I copy it again, and I go over 11'1". I copy it again and go 2'9". And I copy it 2'7". And then I do it again 2'9" for the last window. All right, so now I've got those three windows drawn up top. I can erase the lines I don't need anymore. Remember, the top line's a trim, so I don't want to erase that. Okay, those windows are in place. Now let's do the bottom windows. The one closest to the front lines right up with the above, so I don't have to measure anything. I can just draw a line straight down. Draw a line straight down. But this one's a little weird, and actually the back window lines right up with the top. So I can do the same thing here. But there is a funky window in the middle that is 7'10" over. Select this line. Copy. Option. 7'10". And then it goes 2'9". Let's erase the lines we don't need. And I can just use the shift button if I want. Oop. And click it again, because if I hold the shift button down, it says plus and minus, and I hit delete. Now I've got all the windows on the side. Now I'm going to go to the garage. Let's do this. That's my pan command. So let's go over here. Let's orbit it. So we're looking at the front. Now I'm looking at the front of the garage. And I've got a door that is, it starts 1'6" over, it's 10 foot wide, and it's 7 foot tall. So I go ahead and select this line, copy, 1'6", and then I copy this, and it's how wide did I say it was? 10 foot. So I can go, follow the line, make sure it's on edge. See where it says on edge? And foot. 0. Okay. And the height of it was 7 foot. So I'm just going to pick this bottom line, and I'm going to copy it 7 foot up. Foot. And there's my garage door, or at least the opening for it. Now I've got a attic door that starts 9'1" from this corner, and it is 5'5" up in the air. I'll show you where I got those dimensions. It's 9'1" from the opening to the corner, and it's 4 foot plus 1'5" from the top of the wall, so that's 5'5". So 5'5", 9'1". So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from here. I'm going to zoom right into that corner, click on it. I'm going to draw a line that goes up 5'1". I'm going to go all the way to the edge for now. Make sure it's red. Don't worry about that triangle. I am then going to select this line, copy it. Here's the plus sign. I'm going to go over 9'1". And the door itself is 2'11" wide. The bottom of the door is 4 feet. And now I can get rid of some of these lines that I don't need. Don't need that one. Don't need that one. Don't need that one. Don't need that one. I want to get rid of those two. All right, next thing, now we're off to the last side of the building, and I've got a little roof that sticks out over, I'll show you where it's at. See, I've got that little roof overhanging the propane tanks. I'm not going to draw the propane tanks yet. And there's the roof that sticks out. I don't give a dimension for it. You can probably just guess on it. It's 1'9" tall, so let's make it 1'9" deep. Or somewhere thereabouts. So let's get to this wall. Also wouldn't hurt to hit save. All right, so I said I'm going to make it, it starts 5'1" from the corner. So let's select this one. Copy. And it is 13'11" long. Copy. It starts 5'7" off the ground. So I can take this line, bring it up 5'7". And it is 1'9" tall. Okay. I'm going to get rid of some of the lines I don't need. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of trim on there. I'm going to match the trim on the building. What, you did 4 inches? 8 look too big? All right, I'll go 4. All right, well, let's start with, sure, I'll go 4 inches up here. I'm just going to go ahead and make a box there. I'm going to push pull. 1'9". Then I'm going to connect the dots. And there's my roof, and that's good enough for that little propane coverer. So what we've got now is we've got all our windows blocked out. We've got our roof blocked out. I've got an extra line there. What the places I want to take it a little further to help me out, there is a little roof that I don't really show, a dimension of, that occurs over this door. And I've got a bunch of windows on the side of this door. So I'm going to go ahead and try and make something that kind of hints at that and see where that goes. For starters, it's 5'5" wide. I've given the dimension there. I can zoom in on that. So I know the width is 5'5". I haven't given you a lot of information as far as how tall this is or how tall this roof is. So you can scale it with your scale. You can measure it. You can eyeball it and get it close enough. I look at it and it sure looks like that trim's about the same height as the other trim, although it looks to be a little less. I'm going to call it about a foot as opposed to 1'7". So it's only a foot. We're going to call it a foot of trim up here, and then I'll make the roof work around that. So let's start on that. I'm going to pan, get back to the front, orbit, there's the orbit, let's zoom in on that door. And I said it's about 5'6" is what the drawing says. It says 5'5", I'm sorry, it's 5'5" wide. And the glass, I'm going to measure it, is about 8 foot from the ground to the top of it. So where do I go about doing that? Well, what I would do, first thing I would do is draw a line down the middle. There. Now I have to get this centered on this door. It has to be 5'5" wide. So I would take 5'5" and divide it by 2, and that's going to give me 2'6" plus 2.5 is going to be 2 foot 8.5 inches. So if I copy this, and I go 2 foot 8.5, and then I do the same thing in the other direction. Okay, now I've got the glass surrounding the door, but I don't have the height right for it. But I said it was going to be up a foot. So let's go up a foot. If I extend this line a foot and I go 12 up, and I go over this way, it's going to remember, if I hold my pencil over that line, I can go straight up. And so now I've got the glass that goes around the door. I'm going to get rid of that middle line for now. And I've got some trim on it that we said was a foot tall. So let's go up. Oh, it sticks out a little bit from there. And how far is it? Those are 7-inch columns. I'm just going to make it go to there, which is 7 inches. It goes right to the edge of that line. And it's going to go out 7 inches. It's going to go up a foot. And it's going to come all the way over to here. I've got a little piece of trim that sticks out over it. You can make that up, but I'm going to say it's going to go out 6 inches. We'll make it 4 inches to match the propane tanks. And we'll go over to here. And, oops, I got to do the same thing here. It goes over 6 inches and up 4, and we'll put it over to here. Now it gets a little weird because I want that to stick out a little bit. I'm sorry, we've got a line here. So I got those 2 columns. Sure, let's do that. Let's bring them both out 6 inches. Push pull. I'm going to bring this out 6.
How tall did you make the second piece of
Hmm?
trim? How tall did you make that second piece of trim on top?
I went a foot for the top of the trim.
Yeah, the one on top of that.
I did. I think I did 4 inches to match what you decided was the appropriate site for the garage for the propane. Okay, I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna extend this one out using push pull. I'm gonna go from here and bring it right to the. Oh, that's not push pull. That's move. Push pull. Let's zoom in a little. See what we're doing. Bring it to here. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring it out another 4 inches, just to let it hang out a little. Okay, now I've got that little shelf, and I've got a roof that goes up to the underside of the window trim, but I haven't shown the window trim. If I wanted to, I could go offset and see if this works. No, I think I have to pick the lines first. Let's see if this works. Nope, I'm not liking offset at all. So I'm going to put 4-inch trim around this window. So I'm going to come down 4 inches. And I'm just going to go way over here for now. I'm going to go over 4 inches. And then I'm going to come up to here. And I'm going to go over 4 inches. And come down. Now I've made trim around that window, which will be helpful in a minute. But I can use that to make my roof, my little projecting roof, if I draw a line from that side to here, and from there to there, and from there to there, and from there to there. Now I just put a little roof over it. So I've got the front roof, I've got all the windows, and I've started on trim for the windows, which is going to be exciting because what I can do now is I can actually copy that trim as opposed to drawing it every time. Shift, click, click. I can go copy. I can hit my option button so the plus sign's there. There's trim there. I can do it again. There's trim there. Reverse the faces, but we're going to fix that. Reverse face. I think I got rid of the face. Let me try tracing over. When the faces go away, if you trace over it, sometimes they'll come back. It's a SketchUp thing. All right, so I got trim on those windows. I can do the same thing for the windows below by selecting the trim. I'm going to have to do a little fixing of it, but that's okay. Start at that corner option. Click it there, and it did the same thing again, but we're going to fix that option. Click it there. So now I got the trim, but two things happened. One, it doesn't go 4 inches above the window. I'll take care of that. I'll draw it, and then I'll bring it to here, and I'll come up. Come here. Endpoint. And I'll do the same for this window. Okay, I'm going to trace over this line to make it fill back in. If a panel ever disappears, if a plane disappears, try tracing over it and see if it'll bring it back. Now I've got those windows with trim. These are 4'7", 4'7". All right, so in theory, if I copy this trim, I'm going to copy this trim. And I go copy. There's one there. There's one there. So now I got trim on all my front windows. I'm going to do a little bit more work on the door, and then I'll put trim on the side windows and the garage. So what I do with the door, well, there's going to be little frames around it of some type. I'm going to kind of make them up. All I'm going to do is make a little 2-inch frame around this. Go over 2 inches. Come on, I don't like that. That's pretty small. Escape. Escape. Control Z. All right, we're going to make it 4 inches because I didn't like that. Draw over 4 inches. Endpoint. I'm going to go up to the top of the window for now. I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to go up 4 inches. I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to come down to here. It'll just automatically pick that up. Sure, I'll go there. Draw one over 4 inches. Come up to here and erase the lines I don't need. Now what I've shown is the door and the 3 panels of glass that surround it. Haven't put any mullions in yet. We'll get to that later. All right. Let's do, I think you get the general idea how to do trim around a door, trim around that. For whatever you have on your drawing, even if you've just got the blocks of the building, now we're going to get into a thing that you will find very helpful. And I'll come back and put trim in to finish this off. But before I lose you, before any of you lose your mind completely, I want to try and get that site plan into this drawing. So how do we do that? So one, let me orbit this. I want to look at it from above for the most part. We could go to our site plan, break out our scale, measure everything on here, and try and translate those measurements to our SketchUp drawing. That would be fun, especially with these angled lines and curves. There is an easier way. What you want to do, I'm going to start by just drawing a line off the corner on the ground on the red axis. It doesn't really matter which axis, but red or green, but I want it away from the building. See how I drew that line? There's a line there. Now I'm going to click on here. See the little 3 bars next to where it says this file name? Click on that and it says import. We're going to go My Device, Import File, My Device. If I go to my desktop, you'll see I've got the project site plan. Click on that and hit Upload. Okay, I think image, I think I've got it. Wait a minute. All right, I clicked on image and it brought in the site plan. There's a couple issues with the site plan. One is it's crooked. 2 is it's probably not the right size. Let's take those one at a time. I click on it, and then if I drag my mouse, it makes it bigger or smaller. Just doesn't really matter. Whatever size you pick will be wrong, so just make it that size. First thing I want to do is I've got to straighten it out, because you'll notice the house is crooked. How do I do that? I do rotate. Little thing there, rotate. Click on a corner of this. Click up one axis, and then start bringing it till it looks kind of straight. Does the house look kind of straight? It looks kind of straight. Click it. Zoom in on it. Go ahead and draw a line over it to see. If I stay on a axis, there's a red axis. Well, that's not straight. And here is here, let's go here, is a green axis. So what that tells me is I got closer, but I still have to spin it a little more. Let's go rotate. You can even click here for the base point of the center of rotation. I can click anywhere, and then if I start dragging it, notice I can make it line right up with that line. Or get close enough. Awesome. Now we've straightened it out. Get rid of those lines. The problem now is it's not big enough. So how do we make it big enough? There's a couple ways. One, you can select it and you can hit scale. You can grab one of the corners and it will make it bigger, and you can just keep doing this till it looks to be about the right size. Move it under the house. I suggest you move it in the red direction and then the green direction. Don't go sideways because you'll put it up in space or down below the house. So go red. That looks like it's kind of lined up. And then I go green. And I've got to rotate it because it's not facing the right way. So let me rotate it again. Actually, I'm going to go Control Z. Just get it back here. I want to get the garage in the back, so I have to rotate it 180 degrees. Rotate. Doesn't really matter where the center is. You can click anywhere. You can start spinning it and type in 180. And now it looks like it lines up with the house. But the size is wrong. How do I know that? Well, I just scaled it, and I can measure it. So let's zoom in here on the scale. I get my tape measure. I click on the 0, hit the end of the 0, and go all the way to the end of the 40, and I click on it, and it's 39, 1 1/4, 1 3/4. So I'm about a foot off. How do I fix that? Again, I could just, whoops, I could just hit scale and click on these and drag it a little. Say, oh, well, that's a little bigger. Measure it again. (39.4 and 9/16). All right, we're in the right direction, so we'd have to do that. You keep doing that back and forth if you want to try and get it the right scale. There is an easier way if you're not afraid of math. Let's remember that when we first got it, it was probably about that big. What you do is you're going to want to go through I want to zoom in a little so I can see it. You're going to want to measure it. You know it's supposed to be 40 feet. I measure it. It says it is 14 foot 11 and so it's 15 feet. So I'm going to write that down. And who knows what it's going to be when you bring it in. And that's 15 feet. And I want to make it 40, and I want it to become 40 feet. So what scale factor would I want to use to change it from 15 to 40? Because I need to make it bigger. Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to divide. And the rule of thumb is, if you want to make it bigger, put the bigger number first. If you want to make it smaller, put the smaller number first. I want to make it bigger. So the bigger number is 40 feet, and the smaller number is 15 feet. And if I divide that, that tells me I've got to multiply it. I've got to scale it up 2.666666 forever times. If I go to scale, click on it, I can just type in wait a minute, let's see, I should be able to type in 2.66666. No? Oh, stay on page. I don't know why it's not doing that. Let's try it again. Scale. Click the item you want to scale. 2. Well, come here now. Oh, start it off, and then just type in 2. If I now zoom out and I measure it, we should be pretty darn close to 40 feet. 40 7/8 of an inch, close enough. Once I've got that done, then I can drag it. But I want to go through that scale thing again. Oh, it looks like, did anybody try it and get it? Looks like you got it, Lisa. Did you get it?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, that image, it went to download, and for some reason, I can't download.
All right, give me a minute. Let me run through it, because this can save you a lot of work, and you need to somehow get a site plan in SketchUp to trace it, to see where your trees are, to see where the road is. All right, now that I've got it the size I want, and I'm going to go through the size thing again. Let's say it came in and it was too big. I just made it too big. So then I zoom in on the scale, No, not like that. I measure it. And it says it's 70 foot to, we're going to call it 70 foot. So round it to the nearest foot for now. It's 70 foot, but we want to make it 40 foot. So again, start with, if you want to make it bigger, put your bigger number on top of the fraction, or you divide the smaller number into the bigger number. If you want to make it smaller, you put the smaller number on top of the fraction, or divide the smaller number into the bigger number. So what I would do is I would go 70 as the first number, 40, divide, and it says I've got a, that's not right, excuse me, I had it backwards, 40, smaller number first, 70, divide. It says I've got to use a scale factor of, and I would write it down to about 4 places, 0.5714. I zoom out, I go to scale, I start it, and I go 0.5714. Hit enter. Let's see how we did. Check your work. Let's zoom in right here. Let's get our ruler out. And with any luck, it should be pretty close. It's 40, there you go. 40 foot 1.5, 40, it's close enough to 40 foot. Once I've got it scaled where I want it, now I got to get it under the building. So the best way is to try and get this corner underneath that corner of the building. I'm also going to erase that black line I originally drew to bring it into. You're going to want to move it, but I always recommend that when you move it, now we're not using the option or the alternate button, we're just moving it. Click on it, drag it along the red axis or one of the axes till it be careful, because see, now it's trying to snap to the building. Let's just move it there for now. And then I'm going to drag it on the red axis till it looks kind of like it lines up with the building in that direction. Then I'm going to move it in the green direction. Click on it, bring it down. See my arrow's green up there? Make sure it's green. Oh, that was a little too far. Let's try it right there. Then I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to pan a little bit. And let's look at this corner, because this is probably going to show me what I need to see. Remember, I'm trying to line it up with the dotted line, which is right there. See that dotted line? That's the edge of the house, not the edge of the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and move again. Move. I'm going to zoom right in on here. I'm going to click where the dotted line is. You can barely see it, but it's there.
It's easier to see on the garage.
It's
easier to see on the garage.
Is it easier to see on the garage? Either corner will work. I clicked right there on face and image. I go back in the green direction till I'm on that axis. And then I do it again in the red direction till I'm there. And with any luck, if you take a look at it, that looks pretty good. I don't know what those squares are. I want to check something real quick. I had hoped that I drew the... Nope, I didn't put the... I'd hoped I put the fuel tanks in there, but I didn't. So I've got the site plan underneath the building. Which means if I get my view that I like let's say I want the elevation to be, the perspective to be looking from here. Well, when I go to trace this, that would be a regular eye view. This would be a slightly bird's eye view. I've got all my site information on there. I've got the walkway, I've got steps. I believe this is a stone wall, which I didn't go over, but you can put it in if you want to. You can see where all the trees are. We're going to put a lot of trees in the background because there are a lot of trees in the background. The further out you go, of course, the more you're going to see. I'd probably do a view. Let's go out to about here. I'm going to orbit it a little bit. I kind of like that view. And I think what you can do now, if you get a view that you like, see over here where it says info, components, instructor, blah, 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 scenes. Click on the scene button. Add a scene. There's scene 1. Why do I do that? Well, because in a minute, I'm going to be rotating around and putting other lines in. And what can happen is, you can also get all screwed up when you start trying to put some detail in. You're like, where am I? Scenes. Scene 1. And it'll take you right back to that scene, which is helpful. And plus, if you get a scene that you like, you don't have to try and remember what you did. I would only do probably 3 more things on this before I started drawing it. I would put mullions in the windows. I would put trim around these windows and the garage door and this door, and I might throw a couple tanks in there. And the last thing I would do is real easy, just to help you when you trace your roof lines, go to the midpoint. See where it says midpoint? Go along the green and take it right to the midpoint. Go up front. Now it's already broke the line in half. Go to the midpoint again. Just put those little lines in there. And I don't know if I can do that last one. Oops. Scene. I don't know. I think. Oh, now that's going to be messed. Really? What is that? Yeah. All right. There we go. I might get away with it. Just putting those lines in when you go to draw your texture in will make your life a lot easier. You can go crazy on it if you want. Just keep hitting the midpoint and put a whole bunch of them in there. And now you've got some guidelines to help you when you're tracing. You're not probably going to be tracing these lines because remember we went halfway up and then halfway down and half of the half. But when you're drawing, it'll keep you from making your lines crooked. So I'm going to do the same thing on the garage. Midpoint, 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 midpoint. Yep. Hey, cut it out. Yeah, sometimes SketchUp's too smart for its own good. There. So now I got these help lines on my roof to help me when it's time to trace the texture on it. Like I said, the last thing I would probably, well, a couple of the last things, I would put trim around these windows. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the window trim here. I'm going to orbit. Let's do the side windows. And I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go 4 inches up. I'm going to go 4 inches over, or try to go 4 inches over on the green hey, all right. 4 inches over. Okay. Now once I have that, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go 4 inches up and 4 inches over. And in theory, oh, I'm sorry, I have to go 4 inches down, 4 inches over. There is an easier way to do this, but it was getting pretty grumpy when I tried offset. If I put the line right there, and if I put a line right there, I zoom in on that, I can erase these guys, 'cause I don't really need them. And I'm going to go all the way from the end points, not from here, but I'm going to go from here and make a line, and that should convert it into one nice line. The reason I want it converted is because I'm going to select it. Yeah, it got it all, I think. I can't really tell. We'll find out in a minute. Let me try something. Nope, didn't convert it. So I'm going to get rid of these lines and just make that one line. The reason I did that was because now all I have to do is select those lines, click on it, click the Shift key to hold plus and minus, Shift key, plus and minus, Shift key, plus and minus. I do my move copy command, hit Option or alternate, and I go ding, ding. I'm going to do this one up here, just do that one. Is it just me or does that look crooked? That is crooked, I think. Scene. Yeah, we got a problem there. I don't know what it is. Can you see what I'm looking at? And I can see that these look all crooked, and you can see what happened. Somehow, when I went to copy, I moved it out of the house. It's sticking out. So, Control Z. Get rid of that. Because one of these, that line right here, I wasn't on axis. I was going in the wrong direction. Let's go delete. Four inches. Go to this one right here. I can go from here to here, and in theory, there's that. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of these lines, like that one, and that one, and that one, that one, and that one. Put a line on the top, and hopefully this will work a little better. Hold my Shift button. I'll do copy, option or alternate, plus sign comes up. That looks a lot better. Just going to do one up top because I'm going to erase some of these lines, so I only have to copy what I need to, and I won't have to erase it 6 times in a row. Sorry. Don't worry about that. and there. I'm going to trace over this one, just one line, because it decided to erase the wall. Okay, I'm going to put trim around the garage door in this window, and I really want to see. I should be able to do offset. Pick point from which you should be measured. We're going to pick it here. I'm going to go out, and I'm just going to type in 4. And that spared me all that work. I'm going to do the same thing here, so I'll walk you through this. This is the offset command, and I just had the sequence wrong. First, you select all the lines that you want to put trim around. Then you click this button here, offset. You have to click on the line, start going out, and then type in, we're using 4-inch trim. There's our 4-inch trim. So now I've got trim around all the windows. And I've got the door blocked out. I would put mullions in. I would just go from the midpoint on one of these windows to there, to there, to there. Now we have to figure out, it's 2'9". How do we divide it in thirds? 2'9" is 24 plus 9 would be 33 inches, so it's 11-inch thirds. So if I go over, if I put a line 11, and I come up, and I do here, and I go over 11. See, it automatically wants to go over 11, but I'm going to type it in just the same. Okay, now I've got a 6/6 grid. This is a little exciting because you'll have to select each one of these grids. And it might get angry when I go to copy this, but we're going to try it. Pick a back corner, plus, I missed one. That's all right. I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in. Close enough. And now I do the same thing in the front. I'm going to try something a little different in the front. I'm going to do this. This might be a little easier. So they're all the same width, so it's 11 inches over. So let's do this. Let's go. Copy. Enter. 11. Enter. Now I'm just going to copy these. This way I didn't have to select all the little pieces every time. Oops. Remember to get the plus sign. Now I specifically left one window undone. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this window is I'm going to put the horizontal lines in. Midpoint, 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 midpoint. This way I didn't have to select each one of those little pieces. Now I've got, oh, well, I'm just going to go over here and draw these in. I go over 11. I come down, go over 11, and come down. So now I've got all the mullions in the windows. The garage, I don't have to draw all the detailed little trim, but if I remember correctly, the garage is, did I get lucky? Sure did. All right, it's quarters going up and down, and it's quarters going side to side. So all I have to do is draw a line here to there. It automatically broke the line. So if I do the midpoint, and I do the midpoint here, and then I do it again. There's the garage. If you want to try and put in some propane tanks, I mean, I would just kind of make them up, and I would start by drawing one. I'd put a little line here. I'd come out a little, I'd come out a little. I'd draw a circle. We should have a circle tool. End point, draw a little circle. Let's zoom in on that. How big is the propane tank? We're going to say it's about 18 inches, so 9-inch radius. That's kind of big, but let's click on that line, delete it, and hopefully, all right, I highlight it so the pimples show up. I go up to about here. I'm going to select this with a little box like that. I'm going to go copy. I'm just going to go from about here, and I'll put one here, and then I'll put another one here, and I'll put another one here, and I'll put another one about here. And then I'm just going to erase this. Delete. All right, so you can, if you wanted to put lines on the door, you could. I would just make them up as I was sketching. But I think you'll find that this is going to be a lot easier to trace over than something that's just got squares for the windows. You got all the trim in there, you know where it goes, you got lines to help you with the roof. If you want to go insane, if you haven't gone insane enough, you can look up materials. And you can pick, let's see what we got. I don't know if this has got anything in it. Here we go. Metal patterns. We've got any siding? Brick cladding and siding. All right, there's some siding. Dump it on there. Now I just gave myself all sorts of help lines to work with. The siding's a little, not quite the right scale, but I don't care. It's just got the lines I need. And that's an easy thing to do. You can also do the same thing with roofing. Let's pick those. Now I've got shingles on it. And that does the same. It's going to help you with your help lines.
Are we gonna do the chimney, or are we leaving the chimney off?
We really should do the chimney. I don't give you any dimensions for it.
I just need help getting the base and everything,
What's that?
the lines from the beginning.
Yeah, I'll help you in a little bit, yeah. You know what? Want to skip the chimney?
Okay.
let's skip the chimney. If you want to put the chimney in, you can. If you don't, I'm not going to get concerned. All right, so what I'm going to do, though, is let's go scene. All right, there's the scene. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go File. Oh, not Safari, sorry. I think it's going to be here. Print. There's my scene. There's the drawing. I can go print to PDF. Yeah, allow. Okay, this one's going to show up in my downloads, but you could find it in downloads, and there it is. That's a PDF that I can print.